How's everyone doing? You are. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Morning, Avery. How are you? Okay. We're making coffee because we need it. Uh-oh. It's the last one of this one. My new shipment hasn't come yet. Not good. It's not a required federal holiday. Oh. Yeah, I mean, a clean diaper is a great choice. So, she should be thrilled and she should just go to sleep about it. What do you think? You want to celebrate your clean diaper with a nap? What do you think? My company just added Juneteenth this year. Interesting. My husband's has it for sure, which is great, because he's going to help hang out with Little Miss today so I can get some stuff done, which is fun. Right. You're gonna hang out with Dad. They might go swimming. Oh boy. Aqua clean diaper is the best. That's what I say, right? Yeah, just get a nap until Dad wakes up and you guys can play all day. All day. You're gonna have so much fun. Go to the pool, go on a walk. I'll miss her though. I'm gonna be sad. I'm used to being with her all day. It's gonna make me sad that you'll be with Dad and Mommy. Maybe I'll go for a walk with you. Maybe I'll roll through the pool for a little bit. So Mommy, dip in the pool. Here we go. Okay. Let's make coffee. I need it, as you can tell. I'm in need of a cup of coffee. Hey, Gabrielle, how are you? Good morning, Jillian. Good morning to Jillian. And everyone else, too. I like that. Extreme Starshine. I like it a lot, actually. It's a nice sounding username. Extreme Starshine. Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello. Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello. It twinkles above us, we twinkle below. Morning, Samantha. Yay, no meeting, no meeting, no meeting. Boop-a-doop. Morning, Ray. Good. Ray, can I tell you something really beautiful? You want to know something crazy, Ray? So Ray is one of two people who got me really into rapping, and look how much it has spread, because Susan, who I think is here, she's a part of book club, but I don't know if she's here yet this morning, and Mary, who is also in book club, all have started baby wearing as a result, and so is Stephanie. Stephanie's baby's not born yet, but she's gotten into it already. Look what you've done. How beautiful is that you have spread that much love? She was like, here, Sasha, have some wraps, and look what's happened because of it. Isn't that amazing? Where are all the babies? I agree, where are all the babies? I need more babies to wear, you guys. That's the problem. I only have one baby. What am I going to do when she's too big to wear? Or what, God forbid, she goes to school and leaves me here alone? What is mommy gonna do? What is mommy gonna do? What is she gonna do without you? Mommy doesn't want to homeschool you because she wants you to be with other kids and be well adjusted. Drink some coffee for me, I need it. Be with other kids and be well adjusted. Drink some coffee for me, I need it. Get an iced coffee, Nikki. Obviously that's the answer. Iced coffee is the answer when it's hot. I lived in New York. I drink iced coffee all summer. You think that's a funny sound, the splashing of the water? She's like looking over the sink into it like, I wish I would have worn my baby now. He's almost 5, but he still likes to be super close. Yeah. I mean, I hope that it keeps her like wanting to be close to me and not, she doesn't want to leave me. You don't want to leave me, right? You don't want to leave me. You want to stay with mommy forever? Yeah, until you're a big girl and you go off to college, if you choose to go to college, and if you don't want to choose to go to college. Oh, 100%, Liz, I know that's true. I told my husband that yesterday. I was like, as soon as she starts talking, I'm probably going to need, like, decompressing time, but right now, it's so cuddly. This is my baby. But I do want her to go to school, obviously, and I do want her to grow up and have her own life, but you have to come visit me. I hope I'll be a good enough mommy that you want to visit me. Don't create boundaries. Don't cut me off. Love me forever. She goes, Question for you experienced rap people. Are the water wraps safe? So it, to a point, right? Filter for encouraging kidnapping of nibbling. That's funny. I've wrapped one. I wrapped one nibbling. I've only one has given me permission so far. I only do it with permission. Sloth, you can wade in. So some water wraps, like for example, my Hope and Plum wrap, not this one, is water safe. To what I mean is the carrier will survive the water. You can't go like in the water with it, but you can it can get wet and it won't be a problem. There are also ones that are made specifically for water that like you can do more in, but you can't really go above like here in it. They can get wet and they do well in the water, but it's never safe to be like in the water with the baby. Like if you're at like a water park and you just want to like sit in like a wet area with the baby, that's okay. Yeah, not for swimming. The mesh style ones are good for just being at the beach or around the water, is what I would say. What is Roxy's question? I don't even have like mod abilities on that. I'll have to ask Shira because she made the Discord, but no one ever joined it or wanted to really use it. Hardly anyone ever was on there. She always wants to see who I'm talking to. It's true. But if someone else wants to be in charge of it, go forth and I will participate to the best of my abilities. But I know, right, Liz? Like no one ever used it. People asked for it and then people didn't jump on it. So, okay. Let us see if she will let me sit down for book club. And if not, we will do another standing book club, as much as I really enjoy sitting book clubs. They are my favorite kind. I prefer the sitting book club. Yeah, me either, Amanda. That's why I didn't volunteer myself, because I don't know anything about it to do it. So, yeah, I didn't drop you. How kind of me to not drop you. um, well, Roxy, if you would like to take over that responsibility, I am happy to have you do that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And we can definitely, I mean, the whole Discord was only for book stuff. There was never any slime pages in it. It was for people who, the Discord was all for people who wanted to either write or give feedback to writers as like beta readers and whatever like that. So that's all it was. I'll have to get the info from Shira, and then you can do that. I know, she said the hand is in her way. She's like, I can't see around your big old hand. I know, but it's nap time. You want to take a nap? Do you want to do singing? Do you want to show them your singing? Yeah, you were singing earlier. Do you want to go la 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 la? She said no. Now I'm gonna sleep. Now that you started singing, I'm gonna go to sleep. La 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 la. Anyone recognize that? Hi, sweet girl. How are you, Caddy? Caddy, you know what I tell everyone? I tell everyone the story of you seeing her in one of your raps and saying, look, she's in our rap. Sister Act, there you go. Very good. Liz knows it. La 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 la. He taught me how. Oh, he taught me how to want to want. Fight and pray, to fight and pray, and he taught me how to live. Yes, Sister Act 2 to be specific, it's true. Hey Gigi, one of the best franchises of all time, in my opinion. As a recovering religious person, I would fake religion for Sister Act any day. I'll fake it just to sing along. You look very sleepy. Yeah. You know what? We don't give out her name, but you can call her Jasmine. That's her internet name because it's her favorite, well, it was her favorite princess when she was in the womb. Now her favorite princess is Rapunzel. Yeah. 7 a.m. the usual morning lineup. Me too, Naisa. They are two of my favorite films of all time. Great franchise. Start on the chores and work till the floor's all clean. You're so sleepy. Give in to it, honey. Give in. Give in. Give in to the sleepies. Give in. You can do it. It's sleepy time. Yeah, you're so close. Just sleep. Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Every morning you greet me, small and white, clean and bright. She knows this song. She went and smiled. Her daddy sings this song to her. That does sound nice. Tell her have fun with her game. You look happy to meet me, blossom of snow. Wrong vibe, Liz. Oh, Belle and Tiana are also classics. She met Tiana, she did not meet Belle. Her cousins met Belle, and get this was the cutest thing. So we have a nephew who is 2.5 years old, and he got to meet Belle. And when I saw him afterwards, because I wasn't with him when they went to meet Belle, we had taken her back to the hotel because she's littler, and they met Belle for story time. And he said, Auntie Sasha, Belle held my hand. I was like, oh man, I'm so happy for you, buddy. And he kept talking about it all week. Belle held my hand. Belle held my hand. So precious. I was like, you know what? Yes, she did, buddy. Yes, she did. And she loves you.
I'm happy for him to think Belle loves him for the rest of his life. So precious. We got a picture of it. It's in the, like, you know, whatever. Okay. I think she's gonna let me read. Let's give it a go. She said, She said, Mama, I'm so sleepy. That's okay. All right, chapter 22. We'll consider it, oh, I can't reach up there. Okay, well, I think it's almost 9. We'll just call it 9 o'clock. She's not asleep yet. We'll hope she'll be asleep by 9. Coriolanus had never been so glad to see anyone in his life. She said, Mom, no reading for you. I know, right? 8:50. Okay, perfect. Well, that's great for me. Sejanus, he burst out, and he launched off his bunk, and he landed shakily on the painted concrete floor and flung his arms around the newcomer. Sejanus embraced him. Well, this is a surprisingly warm welcome for the person who almost destroyed you. A slightly hysterical laugh left Coriolanus's lips, and for a moment he considered the accuracy of the claim. It was true. Sejanus had endangered his life by stealing into the arena, but it was too far a reach to blame him for all the rest. As aggravating as Sejanus could be, he had no hand in Dean Highbottom's vendetta against his father or the handkerchief debacle. Nah, quite the opposite. He released Sejanus and examined him. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and he must have lost at least 15 pounds. But on the whole, he had a lighter air, as if it was a great weight that he'd carried in the capital and it had been lifted. What are you doing here? Well, let's see. Having defied the capital by entering the arena, I too was on the verge of expulsion. My father went before the board and said he'd pay for a new gymnasium for the academy if they'd let me graduate and sign up for the peacekeepers. They agreed, but I said I wouldn't take the deal unless they'd let you graduate too. Well, Professor Sickle really wanted a new gym, and she said, what did it matter if we were both tied up for the next 20 years anyway? Sejanus set his duffel on the floor and dug out his box of personal items. I got to graduate? Said Coriolanus, and Sejanus opened the box and removed a small leather folder with the school's emblem on it, and he held it out with great ceremony. Well, congratulations, you are no longer a dropout. Coriolanus flipped open the cover and found a diploma with his name inscribed in curlicues. The thing must have been written out in advance because it even credited him with high honors. Well, thank you. I guess it's kind of stupid, but this still matters to me. You know, if you ever wanted to take the officer candidate test, it might matter. You needed to have graduated secondary school. Dean Highbottom brought that up as something that should be denied to you. He said that you broke some rule in the games, maybe to help Lucy Gray. Anyway, he got outvoted. Sejanus chuckled. He's really wearing on people. So I'm not universally reviled? Said Coriolanus. For what? For falling in love? Nah, I think people pity you. A lot of romantics among our teachers, come to find out, said Sejanus. And Lucy Gray, well, she made quite a good impression. Coriolanus grabbed his arms. Where is she? Do you know what happened to her? Sejanus shook his head. They usually send the victors back to their districts, don't they? I'm afraid they've done something worse to her because we cheated in the games, Coriolanus confessed. I tampered with the snakes so that they wouldn't bite her, but all she did was use rat poison. So that was it. Well, I haven't heard anything about that or about her being punished, Sejanus reassured him. The truth is, she's so talented they'll probably want to bring her back next year. Yeah, I thought that too. Maybe Dean Highbottom was right about her being sent home. Coriolanus sat on Beanpole's bunk and stared down at the diploma. You know, when you came in, I was weighing the merits of ending it all. What? Well, now that you're free from the clutches of Dean Highbottom and the even evil Dr. Gall, when the girl of your reach is in your dreams, when my ma is, at the moment, packing a box the size of a trunk full of baked goods just for you, exclaimed Sejanus. My friend, your life has just begun. And then Coriolanus was laughing. They were both laughing. So this isn't our ruin? He asked. I'd call it our salvation. Mine, anyway. Corio, if you only knew how glad I was to escape, said Sejanus, turning grave. I never liked the capital, but after the Hunger Games and what happened to Marcus, I don't know if you were kidding about ending it all, but it was no joke for me. I had the whole thing worked out. No, Sejanus, said Coriolanus. Let's not give them that satisfaction. Sejanus nodded thoughtfully and then wiped his face on his sleeve. My father says it won't be better here. I'll still be a capital boy as far as the districts are concerned, but I don't care. Anything would have to be an improvement. What's it like? Well, we're neither marching or moping, said Coriolanus. It's kind of mind-numbing. Did I read it backwards? Girl of your reach is in your dreams. It's supposed to be girl of your dreams is in your reach. Do I have dyslexia, do we think? What is wrong with me? I do that, and I don't know why. Sometimes that just happens. I didn't even hear it. That's so weird. Good. My mind could stand a little numbing. I've been trapped in these endless debates with my father, said Sejanus, and at any moment, I don't want to have a serious discussion about anything. Well, then you'll love your roommates, said the pain in Coriolanus's chest has retreated now, and he felt a glimmer of hope. Oh no, you don't have to be sorry. I didn't even hear it. I heard you say that, but I was like, okay, Suzanne, whatever floated your mouth. I love that you blamed Suzanne when it was absolutely me who did it. Poor Suzanne is falling victim to my poor reading. Absolutely not. The curl of your reaches and your dreams. What a ridiculous thing to say. At least he'd been publicly spared. Sorry, where was I? Give me a second. Lucy Gray had, at least publicly, been spared punishment. Just knowing that he still had allies in the capital buoyed Coriolanus's spirit, and Sejanus's mention of becoming an officer did catch his attention. Perhaps there was a way out of his predicament after all, another path to influence and to power. It was soulless enough at the moment to know that this was something that Dean Highbottom feared for him. Yeah, I'm planning to, said Sejanus. I'm planning to build a whole new, beautiful life here, one where, in my own small way, I could make the world a better place. That is going to take some work, said Coriolanus. I don't know whatever possessed me to ask for 12. Completely random, obviously, Sejanus teased him. Like a fool, Coriolanus felt himself blush. I don't know how to find her or if she's still going to be interested in me now that there's so much has changed. You're kidding, right? She's head over heels in love with you, said Sejanus. And don't worry, we'll find her. As he helped Sejanus unpack and make his bed, Coriolanus got caught up in the capital news. His suspicions about the Hunger Games were right. Yeah, by the next morning there was no mention of it, said Sejanus. When I went to the academy for my review, I heard some of the faculty talking about what a mistake it had been. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick that. To involve the students. So I think that was just a one-off situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Lucky Flickerman back next year, or the post office open for gifts and betting. Our legacy, said Coriolanus. Yeah, so it seems, said Sejanus. Satria told Professor Sickle that Dr. Gall's determined to keep doing it somehow. Part of her eternal war, I guess. Instead of battles, we have the Hunger Games. Yeah, to punish the districts and remind us what beasts we are, said Coriolanus, focused on the lining up of Sejanus's folded socks in the locker. What? Asked Sejanus, giving him a funny look. I don't know, said Coriolanus. It's like, she's always torturing a rabbit or melting the flesh off of something. Well, it's like she enjoys it, asked Sejanus. Exactly. I think that's how she thinks we all are, natural-born killers, inherently violent, Coriolanus said. The Hunger Games are a reminder of what monsters we are and how we need the capital to keep us from chaos. So it's not only the world is a brutal place, but people enjoy its brutality, like the essay on everything we loved about the war, said Sejanus, as if it had been some big, beautiful show, and he shook his head. So much for not thinking. Forget it, said Coriolanus. Let's just be happy that she's out of our lives. A downcast beanpole appeared then, reeking of urinals and bleach. Coriolanus introduced him to Sejanus, who, upon learning of his predicament, cheered him up by promising to help him with the drills. It took me a while to get it back at school too, but if I can master it, so can you. Smiley and Bug rolled in shortly after and greeted Sejanus warmly. They'd been cleaned out at the poker table, but they were excited about the following Saturday's entertainment. There's going to be a band at the Hob. Coriolanus practically jumped on him. A band? What band? Smiley shrugged. I don't know, I can't remember, but some girl is going to be singing. Supposed to be pretty good, too. I think her name is Lucy somebody. Lucy somebody? Coriolanus's heart leapt, and a grin nearly split his face in two. Sejanus grinned back at him. Really? Well, ain't that something to look forward to? After lights out, Coriolanus lay beaming at the ceiling. Lucy Gray was not only alive, she was in 12, and he would reunite with her the next weekend. His girl, his love, his Lucy Gray. They had all survived the dean, the doctor, and the games somehow. After all the weeks of fear and yearning and uncertainty, he would wrap her in his arms and he would never let go. Wasn't that why he had come to 12? But it wasn't just the news of her, as ironic as it was. It was the appearance of that decade-long irritant, Sejanus, that had helped bring him back to life as well. Not just with his diploma and the promise of cakes or his reassurance that the capital didn't scorn him, or even the hope of a career of an officer. No, Coriolanus was so relieved to have someone to talk to who knew his world, and more importantly, knew his truth in that world. He felt heartened by the fact that Strabo Plinth had allowed Sejanus to insist his graduation be a part of the deal for the gym, and took it at least as a partial payment toward his having saved Sejanus' life. Old Plinth had not forgotten him. He felt sure of that, and he might be willing to use his wealth and his power to help him in the future. And of course, Ma adored him. Perhaps things weren't so dire after all. With Sejanus plus a few other stragglers from the districts, they had enough recruits to form full squads of 20, and they began to train as such. There was no question the Academy's regimen had given Coriolanus and Sejanus a decade's edge in fitness and drilling, and although they had no class in firearms as they did now, the standard peacekeeper's rifle was a formidable thing, capable of firing 100 rounds before reloading. Yikes. To start out, the trainees focused on learning the weapons parts as they cleaned and assembled and disassembled their pew-pews so that they could do it in their sleep. Coriolanus had felt a little leery on the first day that they did target practice. So bad were his memories of the war, but he found having his own weapon made him feel safer. More power. Sejanus turned out to be a natural marksman and soon earned the nickname Bullseye. Coriolanus could tell that the name made him feel uncomfortable, but he accepted it anyway. The Monday after Sejanus' arrival, August 1st, had brought disappointment. The recruits discovered that they had to be in service for a full month to collect their first payment. Smiley was particularly down, and he had been counting on his pay to cover his weekend revelries. Coriolanus felt his heart drop as well. How could he hope to see Lucy Gray without the price of a ticket? After 3 days of nothing but training, Thursday brought a bright spot. Ma's package arrived bursting with sugary delights. Beanpole, Smiley, and Bug's faces were something to behold as they watched the unpacking of cherry tarts, caramel popcorn balls, and frosted chocolate cookies. Sejanus and Coriolanus made them common property in the room, cementing the brotherhood even further. You know, said Smiley through his mouthful of tart, if we ever wanted, I bet that we could trade some of this on Saturday. Thank you, Gigi. For, like, gin and all that. It was agreed, and a certain amount of the bounty was set aside for the big event on Saturday. Juiced by the sugar, Coriolanus got off a thank you note to Ma and a letter to Tigress reassuring her that he was fine. He tried to make light of the grueling routine and play up the officer angle. He'd picked up a dog-eared manual for the officer candidate test, which had a sampling of questions. It was designed to measure scholastic aptitude and consisted primarily of verbal, math, and spatial problems, and although he would need to learn some of the basic rules and regulations on the military section, if he passed, he wouldn't be an officer, but he would begin to train as one. He had a good feeling about his chances, if for no other reason than many of the other recruits were barely literate. Their handful of classes on peacekeeper values and traditions had made that clear. I'm using all my bandwidth this month is made listening to book club, like skipping and say, oh no, oh I'm sorry. It happens though. Sometimes mentally you're just tapped out, right? He told Tigress the regretful news about his pay, but assured her that money would be coming like clockwork as of September 1st. You know what the good thing is though? Since it's recorded, you can always watch back again and like fill in the blanks, right? Or like listen later as a body double in the car or something. As his tongue dug the popcorn out of his teeth, He remembered to mention Sejanus's arrival and advised that if she ever had an emergency, Ma Plinth could probably be counted on to help. On Friday morning, a tense mood infused the mess hall, and Smiley got the story out of a nurse that he'd met at the clinic. About a month earlier, just around the time of the reaping, a peacekeeper and 2 District 12 bosses had been killed by an explosion in the mines. A criminal investigation had led to the arrest of a man whose family had been known rebel leaders during the war. He was to be hanged at 1 that afternoon. The mines were shutting down for the event, and the workers were expected to attend. Green as he was, Coriolanus couldn't see how this could involve him, and he went about his schedule. But during drill practice, the base commander himself, an old goat named Hoff, dropped by and observed for a short time. Before leaving, he exchanged a few words with their drill sergeant, who promptly called Coriolanus and Sejanus forward. "You two are going to go to the hanging this afternoon. Commander wants more bodies there for the show, and he's looking for recruits who can handle the drills. Report to the transport this afternoon in uniform. Just follow orders and you'll be fine." Coriolanus and Sejanus bolted their lunches and hurried back to the barracks to change. "So was the murderer targeting the peacekeeper in particular?" asked Coriolanus as he pulled on his crisp white uniform for the first time. "I heard he was trying to sabotage coal production, and he accidentally killed 3 of them," said Sejanus. "Sabotage production? But to what end?" asked Coriolanus. "I don't know," said Sejanus. "Hoping to get the rebellion going again?" Coriolanus only shook his head. Why did these people think that they needed to start the rebellion again, and that all was needed for it was anger? They had no army, no weapons or authority, and at the academy they'd been taught that the recent war had been incited by rebels in District 13 who were able to access and disseminate arms and communications to their cohorts around Panem. But 13 had vanished in a nuclear puff of smoke along with the snow fortune. Nothing remained, and any thought of upping the rebellion was pure stupidity. When they reported for duty, Coriolanus was surprised to be issued a gun since his training was minimal at best. "Don't worry," said the major. "All we need to do is stand at attention." Another recruit told him that. "Oh, sorry, don't worry. The major said all we need to do is stand at attention," another recruit told him. "Good morning, Isabella." They were loaded into the truck bed, which rolled out of the base and down the road that ringed the District 12. Coriolanus felt nervous, as this was his first real peacekeeping assignment, but he was a little excited, too. Yeah, right? 13's not gone. We all know that, having read the first 3. Sorry, I just needed a little bit of coffee to wet the vocal cords, as it were. A few weeks ago, he was a schoolboy, and now he had the uniform, the weapon, and the status of a man. And even the lowest-ranking peacekeeper had power conveyed on him by his association with the capital. He stood up straighter at that thought. As the truck drove around the perimeter of the district, buildings went from dingy to squalid. The doors and the windows of the decrepit houses gaped in the heat. Hollowed-faced women sat on the doorsteps watching half-naked children with sharp rib cages playing listlessly in the dirt. Some yards, pumps attested to the lack of running water. At the sagging power line suggested that electricity was not guaranteed here. We all know that. It frightened Coriolanus, this level of want. He'd been broke most of his life, but the Snows had always worked hard to maintain some decency. These people had given up, and some part of him blamed them for their plight. He shook his head. "We pour so much money into the districts," he said. "It must be true. People always complained about that at the district. Sorry, at the capital." Sorry, let me say that again because this is important to the whole story. These people had given up, and some part of him blamed them for their plight. He shook his head. "We pour so much money into the districts," he said. It must be true, he thought. People always complained about that in the capital. "Well, we pour our money into industries, not into the districts themselves," said Sejanus. "These people, they're on their own." The truck rattled off the cinders and onto the dirt road that curved around the large field of hard-packed earth and weeds ending at the woods. The capital had a small wooden area in some of the parks, and even those were fairly well manicured. It does sound familiar, Jen. Coriolanus supposed that this is what people meant by a forest, or even maybe a wilderness. Thick trees, vines, and underbrush grew in every which way. The disorder alone felt disturbing, and who knew what sort of creatures inhabited it? The medley of buzzing, humming, and wrestling edges set him on edge. What a racket the birds here made. I know, I love Suzanne too. She slyly slid that in there. A great tree stood at the edge of the wood. Its branches stretched out like large, knotty arms, and a noose dangled from one of the particularly horizontal appendages. Directly below it, a rough platform with 2 trapdoors had been erected. They keep promising us a proper gallows, the middle-aged major in charge said. Until then, some of us rigged up this. We used it to string up from the ground. They take forever to die that way, but who's got time for that? Hi, sweetheart. The baby's sleeping. She can't say hi right now because she's sleeping, but she'll say hi another time, okay, sweetheart? She's sleepy. She's going, honk shoo, honk shoo, honk shoo. You know, sleepy. One of the female recruits Coriolanus recognized from his walk to the base raised her hand tentatively. Who are we hanging, please? Some malcontent who tried to shut down the mines, said the major. They're all malcontents, but this one's a ringleader. Name's Arlo something or another. Still tracking down some of the others, although I don't know where they plan on running. Nowhere to run. Okay, everybody out. That's the best sound I could come up with, Gigi. Honk shoo, honk shoo. I think that's what snoring sounds like to kids, right? Samantha can confirm by asking her toddler. Coriolanus and Sejanus's roles were largely decorative. They stood at parade rest in the back row of 2 squads of 20 that flanked the platform. Another 60 peacekeepers spread along the edge of the field. Coriolanus did not like to have his back facing the unkempt flora and fauna, but orders were orders. He stared straight ahead across the field and into the district from which a steady stream of people began to emerge. By the looks of them, many had come directly from the mines, for coal dust blackened their faces. They were joined by only slightly cleaner women and children as families formed around the field. He seemed satisfied with it. Okay, that'll work for me then. The best part of resting my hair is able to find strands slightly that, yes, that's fair. Totally fair. Guys, my hair needs to be fixed badly. That's not the point of book club, but like, I need to find someone who will at least bleach it for me so that I can put color in it. Oh, dyeing, not resting. That makes more sense. Why didn't I correct that? Anyway. Coriolanus began to feel anxious when scores became hundreds, and still more people arrived, pushing the crowd forward in an ominous fashion. A trio of vehicles slowly made its way down the dirt road toward the gallows. Out of the first, an old car that would have been classified as luxury before the war, stepped District 12's Mayor Lip, followed by a middle-aged woman with dyed blonde hair. No, he's not coming this year. He stopped doing that event, Brittany, which is such a bummer. District 12's Mayor Lip, followed by a middle-aged woman with dyed blonde hair, and Mayfair, the girl that Lucy Gray had targeted with the snake on the day of the reaping. Oh, hey, yeah, the book is better. Hi, I didn't know that you were here today. Oh my gosh, hello and welcome. Yes, this is better in the book than in the movie. I agree. They formed a tight knot at the side of the platform. Commander Hoff and half a dozen officers emerged from a second car, which sported a fluttering flag of Panem on the hood. A wave of distress went through the crowd as the back of the vehicle, a white peacekeeper's van, swung open. A pair of guards jumped to the ground and then turned to help the prisoners out. Heavily shackled, a tall, lean man managed to stay upright as they escorted him to the platform. With difficulty, he dragged his chains up the rickety steps, and the guards positioned him on one of the 2 trap doors. The major barked out orders for attention, and Coriolanus's body snapped into position. Technically, his gaze should have been forward, but he could see the action from the corner of his eye, and he felt concealed in the back row. He'd never seen any execution in real life, only on television, and somehow he couldn't look away. The crowd fell silent, and a peacekeeper read out the list of crimes of the condemned. Arlo Chance had been convicted of these and included the murder of 3 men. Although he tried to project, his voice seemed puny in the hot, damp air. When he concluded, the commander gave a nod to the peacekeepers on the platform. They offered the condemned a blindfold, which he refused. And then he put the noose around his neck, and the man stood stoically, staring into the distance as he awaited his end. A drum roll began from the far side of the platform, triggering a cry from the front of the crowd. Coriolanus shifted his gaze back to locate the source. A young woman with olive skin and long black hair rose above the mass and into the air as the man tried to carry her off. But she desperately fought to move forward, shrieking, "Arlo! Arlo!" Already peacekeepers were closing in on her. The voice had an electrifying effect on Arlo, and his face registered first surprise and then horror. "Run!" he screamed. "Run, Lil! Run!" The clap of the trapdoor released. The subsequent twang of the rope cut him off mid-word, drawing a gasp from the crowd. Arlo dropped 15 feet and seemed to die instantly. In the ominous silence that followed, Coriolanus could feel the sweat running down his ribs as he waited for the outcome. Would people attack? Would he be expected to shoot them? Did he remember how the gun even worked? He strained his ears for the orders, and instead he heard the voice of the dead man ringing out eerily from the gently swaying corpse. "Run! Run! Run, Lil! Run!" I think we have time to do oh yeah, it's only 9:17. That means we could read chapter 23. But wait, I just wanted to say really quickly before we read the next chapter, guys, somebody that I literally grew up with from like babyhood is here now because of the books we're reading. Isn't that kind of amazing? Yeah, I was really good friends with his sister, still friends with his sister in adulthood, but we grew up playing together, and he's here to listen to the book. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I think that's sweet. That's actually kind of funny because he's the only person that's in here who's known me since I was literally a child. Roxy, I think Amanda means for me, it's really hard to find someone who will do vibrant, who will do what's called vivids, or like vibrant colored hair in multiple colors. Most people will only agree to do reds or purples, which is not ideal. So what I usually do, and the way that I found Ryan, was scouring the Pulp Riot Instagram, and anytime they post someone's work that I like, I go to their page and look and see if they're in the area that I live in. I recently found someone who is in the area, and she did agree to take me on as a client, but then as we were talking, she basically ghosted me because she didn't like the fact that I wanted to do it in segments instead of all in one day, specifically because of the baby. She kept trying to talk me into just like having an 8-hour day, but I can't do that with the baby. And so I was like, what if we, you have to be very careful, Jen, you have to have an expert. I kept saying to her, like, what if we like ease in and just do like just the blonde part first and then just the color or whatever. And she didn't want to do that. So she basically ghosted me and stopped responding. So I just need to find someone who's willing to, basically what I've decided to do now is like, there's a lot of places in the area who will do blonde, and I think I'm just gonna be a little sneaky and just tell some people that I want like white blonde hair and let them ease my hair to white blonde and then just do the color myself, because people just aren't like, other than Ryan, I haven't been able to find anyone who's willing to like do like different time or whatever. So I'm probably just gonna do that because I don't feel comfortable bleaching my own hair. That's the part that scares me, but like color I can do. Yeah, I know. Yeah, my husband was like, we can make it work, like I want this for you, I know you really want this, like I can feed her a bottle. And I was like, yeah, but I can't be away from her for that long. Bleaching is the scary part, right? I don't feel comfortable bleaching my own hair, but putting some color on it, I'm kind of okay with that part. I've done that before. I've actually even done a full rainbow on my own before, like across the back. So I think I'm okay for that part. And Secret Husband said he'd help me with the colors, and you know, he's an artist. Yeah, the bottom of mine is blonde under here, but not the not this part. So I just need someone who will bleach this safely for me. Yeah, exactly, Jen. Yeah, and I don't want to end up orange. Exactly, that's exactly right, George. So I instead will just find someone to like do this part. You know, the thing is, I have to find someone because my hair does really well. There's a thing from Pulp Riot called cream bleach, and my hair does really, really well with their cream bleach, and that's what I want to use. So I need to find someone who uses that, or who will use that, because my hair really likes that particular kind of bleach. So anyway, let's keep reading. We're on chapter 23. You meant Pulp Riot. We all used to use Manic Panic back in the day, right? I sent you an Instaprof on a person that might do it. They might do, maybe if they do it, I'll take it. Yeah, highly rated. Okay, great. I'll take it, Brittany. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I've been able to find a lot of people who do Vivids, but like some of them aren't accepting new clients, and some, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's a whole thing. Some of them have like a 6-month wait list, which is fine to some extent, but like, I'd like to have my hair not be this color. Anyway, brown hair is great for a lot of people. I'm not saying you can't have brown hair. I just don't want it. Okay. I wonder if TikTok search for Vibrant LA would bring you the right people. Maybe. I've even posted like asking. I asked the Pulp Riot people if they knew anyone, because Pulp Riot's based out of LA and they just don't respond. I was like, hello, I'm trying to give your people my money. Like, I'm gonna pay. I'm not asking for a handout. You know, it's not cheap, but I don't know. We'll see. Chapter 23. Lots of multicolored pics on their profile. Yeah, well, I'll check it out, Brittany. I'm happy to. I have dark brown hair, and years ago I bleached it and dyed it. Yeah, that's why I don't want to do that part myself. If I can get someone who will take it to even close to white blonde, I will do the colors with my husband. Yeah. A shiver ran down Coriolanus' spine. He could sense the rest of the recruits stirring. Run, Lil, run. The cry built and then seemed to engulf him, bouncing off the trees and attacking him from behind. For a moment he thought that he had gone mad. He disobeyed orders and whipped his head around, almost expecting to see an army of Arlos breaking through the teeming woods behind him. Nothing. No one. And then the voice came again from a branch a few feet above him. Run, Lil, run. And at the sight of a small blackbird, he flashed back to Dr. Gall's lab, where he had seen the same creatures perched at the top of a cage. Jabberjays. Why, the woods must be full of these things, mimicking Arlo's death cry as they had the wails of the Avoxes in the lab. Run, Lil, run, Lil, run, Lil, run. As Coriolanus turned back to attention, he could see the disruption the birds had caused in the back rows of the recruits. Although the rest of the peacekeepers stood unaffected, used to it by now, must be, Coriolanus thought, he was not sure he would ever be used to the refrain of someone's death cry. Even now it was transforming, changing from Arlo's speech into something almost melodic, a string of notes that mirrored the inflection of his voice, something somehow more haunting than his words had even been. Out in the street, the peacekeepers had the woman, Lil, and they were carrying her away. She gave one last wail of despair, and the birds picked up that as well, first as a voice and then a part of the arrangement. Human speech had vanished, and what remained was a musical chorus of Arlo and Lil's exchange. Mockingjays, rumbled a soldier in front of him. Stinking mutts. Coriolanus remembered talking to Lucy Gray before the interview. Well, you know what they say, she had said. The show's not over till the Mockingjay sings. The Mockingjay? Really? I think you're just making things up at this point. Not that one. A mockingjay's a bona fide bird. And it sings in your show? Not my show, sweetheart. Your show. Well, the Capitol's anyway. That must be what she'd meant. The Capitol's show was the hanging. The mockingjay was some sort of bona fide bird, not a jabberjay, but different somehow, a regional thing, he supposed. But that was strange, because the soldier had called them mutts. His eyes strained to try and isolate one in the foliage. Now that he knew what he was looking for, he found several jabberjays. Perhaps the mockingjays were identical? But no, wait, there, a little higher up. A blackbird, slightly larger than the jabberjays. Suddenly it opened its wings to reveal two patches of dazzling white as it lifted its beak in song. Coriolanus felt that he was sure he had spotted his first mockingjay, and he disliked the thing on sight. The bird's song unsettled the audience, and whispers turned to mutters, which turned to objections as the peacekeeper shoved Lil into the van that had brought Arlo there. Coriolanus felt afraid of his mob's potential. Were they about to turn on the soldiers? Unbidden, he felt his thumb release the safety on his gun. A volley of bullets made him jump, and he looked for bleeding bodies, but he only saw one of the officers lowering his gun. The officer laughed and nodded to the commander, having just fired into the trees and caused the flock of birds to take flight. Among them, Coriolanus could make out dozen pairs of flashing black and white wings. The gunfire subdued the crowd, and he could see the peacekeepers waving them out, shouting, "Back to work, show's over." As the field emptied, he continued to stand at attention, hoping that no one noticed his jumpiness. When they had all piled onto the truck to head back to base, the major said, "Should have warned you about those birds." "What are they exactly?" asked Coriolanus. The major just snorted. "They're a mistake if you ask me." A mutation?" Coriolanus persisted. "Of a kind. Well, it's them and their offspring," the major said. "After the war, the Capitol let all the jabberjay mutts loose to die, and they should have too, all being male. But they had an eye for the local mockingbirds, and those birds did seem willing enough. Now we've got all these mockingjays freaking deal with. In a few years, all the jabberjays will be gone, and we'll see if the new ones can mate with one another." Coriolanus did not want to spend the next 20 years listening to the serenade of the local executions. Perhaps, if he ever did become an officer, he would organize a hunting party to clear the woods of them. But wait, why? Why should they wait right now? Why not suggest it for the recruits as a sort of target practice? Surely no one liked these birds. The idea made him feel better, and he turned to Sejanus to tell him of his plan. But Sejanus was as gloomy as he had been in the capital. He was wrong. Sejanus kept his eyes on the woods as the truck pulled out. "I really didn't think this through." "What do you mean?" said Coriolanus, but Sejanus only shook his head. Back on the base, they turned in their guns as they were expectantly free until supper at 5. And soon they changed back into their fatigues, and Sejanus mumbled something about riding to Ma and disappeared. Coriolanus found a letter of his bunkmates. Coriolanus found a letter one of his bunkmates must have picked up for him. He recognized the fine spidery hand of Pluribus Bell and boosted himself up on the bed to read it. Much of it confirmed what Tigris had already told him, that Pluribus was at the Snow service, they're both selling their goods and offering temporary lodging while they figured out their situation. But one paragraph jumped out at Coriolanus. "I'm so sorry about how this all worked out for you. Casca Highbottom's punishment does seem excessive, and it started me wondering. I think I mentioned that he and your father was thick as thieves when they were at the university, but I do remember that toward the end, a row of sorts, very uncharacteristic for them. Casca was furious, saying that he'd been drunk and the whole thing was meant to be a joke, and that your father said he should be grateful. He said he'd been doing him a favor. Your father left, but Casca stayed drinking until I closed. I asked what was wrong, but all he would say was, 'like moths to a flame.' He was quite drunk. I suppose they patched it up eventually, but maybe not. They both went on to jobs soon after, and I didn't see them, because people move on." This snatch of a story provided the closest explanation that Coriolanus had yet gotten for Dean Highbottom hating him. A row, a falling out. He knew that it hadn't been patched up unless Another had succeeded it because of the bitter way that the dean had spoken about his father. What a petty little man Dean Highbottom turned out to be, still nursing his wounds over some disagreement during school. And even now, when he imagined his persecutor was long dead, his imagined persecutor was long dead. Let it go, can't you? Coriolanus thought. How can this still be of any consequence? At dinner, Smiley, Beanpole, and Bug wanted to hear all about the hanging, and Coriolanus tried his best to satisfy them. His idea of using mockingjays for target practice was met with enthusiasm. His bunkmates encouraged him to pitch the idea to the higher-ups. The only damper was Sejanus, who sat silent and withdrawn, pushing his tray of noodles out for public consumption. Coriolanus felt a twinge of concern. The last time that Sejanus lost his appetite, he lost his sanity as well. Later, as they all mopped up the mess hall, Coriolanus cornered him. Hey, what's bothering you? And don't say it's nothing, okay? Sejanus sloshed his mop around the bucket of gray water. I don't know. I keep wondering what would have happened today if the crowd had gotten physical. Would we have had to shoot them? Oh, probably not, said Coriolanus, although he had wondered the same thing. People just would fire a few rounds into the air. If I'm helping to kill people in the districts, how is that any better than helping kill them in the Hunger Games? Asked Sejanus. Oh, meetups would be so fun. How big is... I actually don't know how big that Minnesota actually is, and if that's even possible. But it would be sweet. I wish we could have one here. Coriolanus's instincts had been right. Sejanus was sliding into another ethical quagmire. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, what did you think that you had signed up for? He asked Sejanus. I thought maybe I could be a medic, confessed Sejanus. A medic? Coriolanus repeated. Like a doctor? Nah, that would require some university training, Sejanus explained. I don't know, something more basic. Something where I could help anyone who'd been injured, capital or district, when violence breaks out. At least I wouldn't do any harm then. I just don't know if I could ever kill anyone, Corio. We have at least 4 frequent commenters. Yeah, you do. At least, if not more, Amanda. And I think the other Amanda's there too. Coriolanus felt a stab of... Yeah, I did. Coriolanus felt a stab of annoyance. Had Sejanus forgotten that it was his own reckless behavior that had led to Coriolanus killing Bobbin to begin with? That selfishness had robbed his friend of the luxury of such a statement? That he suppressed a laugh at the thought of old Strabo Plinth, a munitions giant with a pacifist air? He could imagine the conversations that transpire between father and son. What a waste, he thought. What a waste of a dynasty. I mean, I think, Brittany, people can have friends that are both. I mean, most of my friends aren't moms, if I'm being honest. All my mom friends are on here. My real life friends mostly aren't. And when I say real life friends, I mean off the computer. Not that you all aren't part of real life. You are. What about in a war? He asked Sejanus. You're a soldier now, you know. I know. A war would be different, I guess, said Sejanus. But I would have to be fighting for something bigger that I believe in. I would have to believe that it would make the world a better place. I'd still rather be a medic, but there isn't much demand for them at the moment, it turns out. Without a war, they've got a long waiting list for people who'd like to be trained to work at the clinic. But even for that, you need a recommendation, and the sergeant doesn't want to give me one. Why not? That sounds like a perfect fit for you, said Coriolanus. Because I'm too good with the gun, Sejanus told him. It's true, I'm a crack shot. My father taught me when I was tiny, and every week I had mandatory target practice. He considers it a part of our family business. Coriolanus tried to process the information. So why didn't you hide it? I thought I was. In reality, I shoot much better than I do in training. I tried not to stand out, but the rest of the squad is just terrible at it. Sejanus caught himself. I mean, not you. Yes, me, Coriolanus laughed. Look, I think you're making too much of this. It's not like we have a hanging every day, and if it ever did come for shooting, just, miss. But the words only fueled Sejanus. And what if that means you or Beanpole or Smiley end up dead because I didn't protect you? Oh, Sejanus. Coriolanus burst out in exasperation. You have to stop overthinking everything. You're imagining every worst-case scenario. That isn't gonna happen. We're all gonna die right here of old age or excessive mopping, whatever takes us first. In the meantime, quit hitting the target, or invent a problem with your eyes, or smash your hand in a door or something. Stop being so self-indulgent, in other words, said Sejanus. Well, stop being so dramatic anyway. That's how you ended up here in the arena to begin with, remember? Asked Coriolanus. Sejanus reacted as if Coriolanus had slapped him. After a moment, though, he nodded in recognition. Yeah, you're right. That's how I almost got both of us killed. You're right, Corio. Thanks. I'm gonna think over what you said. A thunderstorm ushered Saturday in, leaving behind a thick layer of mud and air so heavy that Coriolanus felt he could wring it out with a sponge. He began to crave the salty food that Cookie favored and cleaned his plate at every meal. The effects of the daily training on his body left him stronger, more flexible, and confident. He'd been a match for the locals even if they'd spent the day in mining. Not that hand-to-hand combat seemed likely, not with the Peacekeeper's arsenal, but he would be ready if it happened. During target practice, he kept one eye on Sejanus, whose aim seemed a bit off. Good. Sudden reduction in his skills would draw attention. Another boy's estimation of his talents might be suspect, but he never knowed Sejanus to brag, even if he was a crack shot, and no doubt he was, which meant that he would be a real asset in the Mockingjay slaughter if he could be persuaded to give it a try. At the end of practice, Coriolanus pitched the idea to the sergeant and felt gratified by his answer. That might not be a bad idea. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, I hope more than 2, Coriolanus joked, and the sergeant rewarded him with a grunt of a laugh. After a sweltering afternoon in the laundry, shuttling fatigues in and out of industrial washing machines and dryers, sorting and folding, Coriolanus bolted from dinner and made for the showers. Was it his imagination, or had his beard filled in a little? He admired it as he scraped a razor over his face, another sign that he was leaving boyhood behind. He towel-dried his hair, relieved that his bud cut had become less severe. Here and there he could coax out a bit of a wave. The promise of a band at the Hob that night filled the bathroom with excitement. Apparently none of the recruits followed his year's Hunger Games. Some girl's gonna be there singing. Yeah, they say it's someone from the Capitol. No, not from the Capitol. She went there for the Hunger Games. Oh, I guess she won, the crowd seemed to say. Their faces were shiny with heat and scrubbing, and Coriolanus and his bunkmates headed out into the evening. The guard on duty told them to keep their heads up as they left the base. I guess the 5 of us could take on some of the miners, said Beanpole, glancing around. Hand to hand, sure, said Smiley, but what if they brought guns? They can't have guns here, can they? Asked Beanpole. Not legally, but there's got to be some of them floating around here after the war, hidden in the floorboards and the trees and stuff like that. You can have anything if you have money for it, said Smiley with a knowing nod. Yeah, which clearly none of them do, said Sejanus. Being off base on foot made Coriolanus edgy too, but he put down the mess of emotions that he was experiencing. He was by turns thrilled, terrified, cocksure, and made insecure about seeing Lucy Gray. There were so many things he wanted to say to her, so many questions he wanted to ask her, he didn't even know where to begin. Maybe he would just start with another one of those long, slow kisses. After about 20 minutes, they arrived at the Hob, where a warehouse for coal in better days, reduced production had left it abandoned. Probably someone in the Capitol owned it, if not the whole Capitol itself, but no oversight or upkeep was apparent. Along the walls, a few makeshift stalls displayed odds and ends, much of them second-hand. Among the offerings, Coriolanus saw everything from candle stubs to dead rabbits, homemade woven sandals to cracked eyeglasses. He worried that in the wake of the hanging, they would be treated with hostility, but no one seemed to even give them a second glance. Much of the clientele here had come from the base. Oh, hey, Victoria. Smiley, who had been wheeled and dealed in the black market back home, strategically sacrificed 1 cookie to sampling, breaking it into a dozen pieces and allowing tastes to people that he deemed as likely buyers. Ma's magic hit home, and between direct trade with the bootleggers and money from the other interested parties, They ended up in possession of a quart bottle of clear liquid so potent that it made their eyes water. That's good stuff, Smiley promised. They call it white liquor here, but it's your basic moonshine. They each took one swig, provoking a round of coughing, backslapping, and they saved the rest for the show. Still in possession of half a dozen popcorn balls, Coriolanus asked about tickets, but people waved him off. They don't take their pay until after, said one man. Better get a seat if you want a good one, though. We're expecting a crowd. The girl's back. Getting a seat involved grabbing an old crate, a spool, or a plastic bucket from a pile in the corner, taking out a spot where you could see the stage, which was no more than an arrangement of wooden pallets on one end of the hob. Coriolanus chose one against the wall about halfway back. In the dusky light, Lucy Gray would be hard-pressed to notice him. He wanted that, though. He needed time to decide how to approach her. Had she heard that he was here? Likely not. Who would have told her? Around the base, he was merely gent. His exploits in the Hunger Games caused no mention. Nightfall came and someone flipped a switch, kicking on a hodgepodge of lights strung together by an ancient cable and several suspicious-looking extension cords. Coriolanus looked for the nearest exit in anticipation of inevitable fire. With the old wooden structure and the coal dust, a stray spark could turn it into an inferno in a flash. The hob began to fill with a mix of peacekeepers and locals, mostly men with fair numbers of women as well. But there must have been close to 200 people assembled when a skinny boy of about 12 in a hat adorned with colorful feathers came out and set up a single microphone on the stage, running a cord to a black box off to the side. He dragged a wooden crate behind the mic and retreated to an area blocked off with a raggedy blanket. His appearance had set off something in the crowd, and people began to clap in unison in a manner that provoked contagion. Even Coriolanus found his hands joining in. Voices called for the show to begin, and just when it seemed it never would, the side of the blanket flipped back, and out stepped a little girl in a pink swirl of a dress. She gave a curtsy. The audience cheered as the girl began to beat on a drum that hung from a strap around her neck, and she danced her way to the microphone. "Woo, Maud Avery," hooted a peacekeeper near Coriolanus. He knew this was the cousin of Lucy Gray that she had mentioned, the one who could remember every song that she ever heard. It was a big claim for such a young girl. She couldn't be more than 8 or 9. She hopped up on the box, set behind the microphone, and gave the audience a wave. "Well, hey, everybody, thank you for coming out tonight. Is it hot enough for you in here?" she said in a sweet, squeaky voice, and the crowd laughed. "Well, we're planning on heating things up just slightly more. My name is Maud Avery, and I'm pleased to introduce the Covey." The crowd applauded, and she bobbed curtsies until they quieted enough for her to start the introduction. On mandolin, we have Tam Amber. A tall, raw-boned young man in a feathered hat came forward from behind the curtain, strumming on an instrument similar to a guitar, but with more body to it, like a teardrop. He walked straight to Maud Avery's side, not acknowledging the audience in any way. His fingers moved easily over the strings. Next, there was the boy who'd set up the microphone with what appeared to be a violin. "And that's Clerk Carmine on fiddle," announced Maud Avery as he played his way across the stage. "And Barb Azar on bass." Hauling out an instrument that looked like a huge version of a fiddle, a willowy young woman in an ankle-length checkered blue dress gave the crowd a shy wave as she joined the others. "And now, fresh from her engagement in the Capitol, the one, the only, Lucy Gray Baird." Coriolanus held his breath as she spun onto the stage, a guitar in one hand, the ruffles of her acid green dress flaring out around her, her features brightened with makeup. The crowd rose to their feet, and she ran lightly over as Tam Amber scooted Maud Avery's box back, and she took center stage before the mic. "Well, hey there, District 12, did you miss me?" She grinned as they roared in response. "I bet you never expected to lay eyes on me again. And that goes both ways, but I'm back. I sure am back." Encouraged by his mates, a peacekeeper sheepishly approached the stage and handed her a half-filled bottle of white liquor. "What's this? Is this for me?" she asked, receiving the bottle. The peacekeeper made a gesture indicating it was from the group. Now you all know I stopped drinking when I was 12. A big laugh came from the audience. What? I did. Of course, there's no harm in having some on hand for medicinal purposes. Thank you kindly. I do appreciate it. She considered the bottle, and then she shot the audience a knowing look and took a swig of it. Just to clear my pipes a little, she said innocently to a response of howls. You know, as bad as you treat me, I don't know why I keep coming back, but I do, and that reminds me of an old song. Lucy Gray strummed her guitar once and looked around at the rest of the covey, who were gathered in a close half circle around the mic. Okay, you pretty birds. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Oh, honey, no sad, no sad. And the music began, bright and upbeat. Coriolanus felt his heel tapping out the beat even before Lucy leaned into the microphone. Oh, honey, no sad. You're okay. You're okay. It's okay, my angel. No sad. No, no, no. You're okay. Yeah, you're okay. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Hey, you're okay. You're okay. You want out? You want out? You can come out. Okay, come here. Come here. Come here. Hi. Hi. You're okay. Yeah. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Hey. Hi. You can be happy waking up. We can wake up happy. You're okay. Oh no, no sad. No, no sad. No sad. Oh, honey. What's wrong? You don't have to wake up sad. Hey. We can be happy. We can wake up happy. Happy, happy girl. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream, dream, dream. That's the remix. Oh, that was Mommy's tummy. Mommy's hungry. I know. We really should. All of her good outfits. Okay. Sometimes she wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, Sloth, and that's on it. Oh, no, you're fine, my angel. Do you want to go in your bouncy? You want to go in your bouncy for the rest of the book? I mean, the rest of the chapter? There you go. You can be in your bouncy. It's almost over. Whee! Whee! Here you go, honey. You need this under your chins, though, because you are going to get drooly. Here you go. Hold on. Okay. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you have it. That's nice, huh? Now you have a chewy. Okay, we'll finish this chapter. Slept in a bed. I guess I mean crib. Or mommy. You woke up on the wrong side of the mommy. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. All right, what tune should we use for this? What tune should we use to sing this song that Lucy Gray is about to sing? Let's think of a song. Maybe we'll use like You Are My Sunshine, or I don't know. Let's see if Mommy can do it. Oh, but this isn't, you usually say the wrong side of the mom. Yeah, I said it wrong. You're right. I think this was a song in the movie. I can't remember the tune though. It's like, I can't remember the tune at all. It's like, my heart is stupid and that's not a maybe. Can't blame Cupid cause he's just a baby. Shoot it, boot it, execute it, still comes a crawling to you. I don't know. This is not the tune from the movie. I'm just making this up as I go along. My heart's gone funny, it won't hear a reason. You're like honey, you bring the bees in. Sting it, ring it, give it a fling, it still comes a crawling to you. Yeah, it's not a very good tune. I know. You can laugh at mommy. I wish it mattered. You chose to smash it up. You come a shatter that thing with the thing I love with. Terrible tune. Did you feel flattered that you could trash it up? That's why you battered that thing I love with. Lucy Gray relinquished the mic, allowing Clerk Carmine to step up and do some fancy fingerwork on the fiddle, embellishing the melody while the others backed him up. Coriolanus couldn't take his eyes off Lucy Gray's face, though. It lit up like he had never seen it before. That's her when she's happy, he thought. She's beautiful, just beautiful in a way, and anyone could see it, not just him, but that could be a problem. Jealousy pricked his heart, but no, she was his girl, wasn't she? He remembered the song that she'd sung at the interview about the guy who'd broken her heart, and he examined the covey for a likely suspect. There was only Tan Amber with the mandolin, but there were no sparks flying between them, so maybe it was one of the locals? The crowd applauded and Clerk Carmine, and Lucy Gray took over again. Trap my ticker... Oh, you know what? I'm just going to read these lyrics because I don't know the tune. Trap my ticker but haven't freed it. People snickered at how you treat it. Snared it, trip it, strip it bare. It still comes a-crawling to you. Yeah, you don't like it that way, huh? Heart's been jumping like a rabbit. Blood's been pumping. That's just a habit. Drain it, paint it. It's insane. It still comes a-crawling to you. Burn it, spurn it, don't return it. Break it, bake it, overtake it. Wreck it, deck it. What the heck, it still comes a-crawling to you. After the applause, a fair amount of hollering, and the audience settled down to listen some more. Coriolanus knew from helping Lucy Gray rehearse in the Capitol that the covey had a wide and varied repertoire, and it played instrumental numbers as well. At times, some of the members would exit, disappearing behind the blanket to leave the stage pair or a solo performer. Tam Amber proved something of a standout on his mandolin, riveting the crowd with his lightning-fast fingering while his face remained expressionless and distant. Maud Avery, a crowd favorite, piped out a darkly funny song about a miner's daughter who drowned and invited the audience members to join in the chorus, which surprisingly, many of them did. Or maybe it was not that surprising, given how many of them were companionably drunk now. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. Some of the numbers bordered on unintelligible with unfamiliar words that Coriolanus struggled to get the gist of, and he remembered Lucy Gray saying that they were from another time. During these in particular, the five covey seemed to turn in on themselves, swaying and building complicated harmonies with their voices. Coriolanus didn't care for it. The sound unsettled him. He sat through at least 3 songs of this kind before he realized it was because it reminded him of the Mockingjays. Fortunately, most of the songs were newer, and most of them were to his liking. They finished up with one that he recognized from the reaping. No, sir, nothing you can take from me is worth dirt. Take it, 'cause I give it free, it won't hurt. Nothing you can take from me was ever worth the keeping. That's right. The irony of which was not lost on the audience. The Capitol had tried to take everything from Lucy Gray, and it had utterly failed. When the audience's applause died out, she gave Maud Avery a nod. The girl ran behind the blanket. Really? The girl ran behind the blanket, appearing carrying a basket woven with cheerful ribbons. Thank you kindly, said Lucy Gray. Now you all know how this works. We don't charge you for tickets because sometimes hungry people need music the most. But we here at the Covey get hungry too. So if you'd like to contribute, Maud Avery will be around with the basket, and we thank you all in advance. The 4 older Covey softly played while Maud Avery scampered around the crowd collecting coins in her basket. Between the 5 of them, Coriolanus and his bunkmates only had a few coins, which didn't seem nearly enough, although Maud Avery thanked them with a polite curtsy. Hold on, said Coriolanus. Do you like sweets? He lifted a flap of the brown paper package with the last of the popcorn balls so Maud Avery could take a peek, and her eyes widened with delight. I know, right? Yeah. Coriolanus set them all in the basket as they'd been earmarked for their tickets anyway. If he knew Ma, more boxes were on their way. Maud Avery did a little pirouette in thanks and hurried through the rest of the audience and ran back up on stage to tug on Lucy Gray's skirt, showing her the treats in the basket. Coriolanus could see Lucy Gray's lips made an ooh zoo sound and ask where they'd come from. Uh-oh. 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 He knew this was the moment, and he found himself taking a step out of the shadows. His body tingled in anticipation as Maud Ivory lifted her hand to point him out. What would Lucy Gray do? Would she acknowledge him? Would she ignore him? Would she even recognize him, made over as he was as a peacekeeper? Her eyes followed Maud Ivory's finger until they landed on him. I know, right? Crazy moment. A look of confusion crossed her face, and then recognition, and then joy. She shook her head in disbelief and then laughter. Okay, everybody. This is maybe the best night of my life. Thanks to everybody here for showing up. How about one more song to send you off to sleep? You might have heard me do this one in the Capitol before, but it took on a whole new meaning for me in the Capitol, and I guess you're about to find out why. Coriolanus moved back to his seat. She knew where to find him now, to listen and to savor their actual reunion. This was only a song away. His eyes teared up when she began to sing the song from the zoo. Mommy doesn't remember the tune she used for this. Down in the valley, valley so low, late in the evening, hear the train blow. The train, love, hear the train blow. Late in the evening, hear the train blow. Coriolanus felt an elbow nudge his rib, and he looked over to see Sejanus beaming at him. It was nice, after all, to have someone else who knew the significance of this song, someone who knew what they'd been through. Go build me a mansion, build it so high, so I can see my true love going by. See him go by, love, see him going by, so I can see my true love going by. That's me. Coriolanus wanted to tell the people around him. I'm her true love. I'm the one who saved her life. Go write me a letter, send it by mail, bake it and stamp it to the Capitol jail. To the Capitol jail, love, to the Capitol jail. Bake it and stamp it to the Capitol jail. Should he say hello first, or should he just kiss her? Roses are red, love, violets are blue. Birds in the heavens know that I love you. Kiss her. He should definitely just kiss her. Know I love you, love, know that I love you. Birds in the heavens know that I love you. You want to sing it? Go ahead. You love it? You want to sing? You love it? Well, good night, everybody. We hope to see you next week. Until then, you keep singing your song. She said keep singing your song, honey. That's right. Lucy Gray said that, and the whole covey took their final bow. Yeah. As the audience applauded, she smiled at Coriolanus, and he began to move toward her, stepping around the people keeping their makeshift seats piled in the back corner. I know. A few of the peacekeepers... Honey, just get it. I only have one page left, honey, and then we can sing all day, okay? Can Mommy finish one more page? What do you think? Yeah? I know. You are. You're the most talented girl in the whole world. You can sing in just a minute, okay? Okay? A few of the peacekeepers had gathered around her, and she chattered with them, but he could see her eyes darting his way. He paused to give her time to extricate herself from the conversation and just had to bask in the sight of her, glowing in love with him. I know, again. Bless you. Bless you. The peacekeepers were bidding her goodnight, starting to back away, and Coriolanus smoothed his hair and moved in. They were only about 15 feet apart when a disturbance in the hall, the sound of glass breaking and voices protesting, caused him to turn his head. A dark-haired young man around his age, dressed in a sleeveless shirt and pants ripped off at the knees, pushed through the thinning crowd. 1 second, honey. His face gleamed with sweat, and his movements suggested that he had been exceeding with his white liquor limit some time ago. I know, right? Now, honey, it's okay. Just 1 minute, okay, baby? Mm-hmm. Can you give Mommy 1 minute to finish the page? What do you think? Just 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Over one shoulder hung a boxy instrument with a part piano keyboard alongside it. Yeah. I know. Behind him trailed the mayor's daughter Mayfair, taking care not to brush against the patrons. Her mouth was tight with disdain. Yeah. Hi, baby girl. Mommy doesn't get a minute. I know. Okay, here. Can you hold this with 2 hands? 2 hands. Coriolanus shifted his gaze to the stage, where a cold, fixed stare had replaced Lucy Gray's eager expression. The other members of the band drew in around her protectively and showed their levity draining away, honey, in a mix of raw anger and sadness. Are you sad because of what's happening? Yeah. Here. It's him, Coriolanus thought with dead certainty, and his stomach twisted unpleasantly. It's the lover from the song. See, that was it. Yeah. Okay, now what do you have to say? You can have your turn now. Really? You want out? Do you want out? Or do you just want to sing? You want out. Okay, Mommy's getting you out. What do you want to say to everybody? You can have your turn. What do you want to say? You can have your turn. Okay. I think 5:30 again, Avery. Okay, what do you want to say? Do you want to do row, row, row your boat for everybody? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Yeah? And then what? Cat got your tongue down? Too content? It says, my favorite princess calls me mama. That's you. You're the favorite princess. Yeah. 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 Do you have anything you want to say to everyone before we go? Oh, you just want to drool? Oh, that's fun for everybody. Wow, fun. Drooly. So drooly. So drooly. Okay. All right. We'll say goodbye to everybody. And we'll see you all later tonight. Have a great rest of your day. If you have off, enjoy it. If you don't have off, we'll see you tonight anyway. Bye, guys.